Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw.
And I'm Sean Liang.
And Sean, I'm still here.
You are. Thank God.
Man, you know, I don't know how I feel about this movie.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have an interesting time talking about it for sure.
Absolutely.
But before we talk about I'm Still Here, the film from 2010, directed by Casey Affleck and stars Joaquin Phoenix playing himself. Sean, have you been watching anything this week?
The only new thing I've watched since Pee Wee Herman was my Walking Dead episode.
Oh, Lord in heaven.
I know. But I was really actually shocked and sad because one of my new favorite characters died. So.
Oh, no.
I know. Spoiler alert.
Single tear going down my eye.
I know. It was sad for me.
I want to jump on a soapbox here for a second and talk about a movie that I'm in the process of watching. Man of Steel. Holy shit. This movie is like everything I've heard about it from people whose opinions I trust is true.
Yeah.
It's just not. Oh my God. It's so dour and just like boring and kind of depressing. And there's like nothing going on. And Michael Shannon, who's like one of the most, fantastic actors I've ever seen, he's essentially screaming every time he's on screen.
Man.
He's like screaming. And like he has this weird Southern accent thing going on. And Henry Cavill has like no charisma as an actor. Like he looks like Superman, but so did Christopher Reeve and so did Brandon Routh. Yeah, it's not a good movie. And fanboys out there, I'm sure they'll sit and roll their eyes and tell me that it's the best, this, that, and something else, but it's not a good movie. Like, I'm sorry, it's not. In my opinion, it's not a good movie, and your opinion doesn't have to be mine, but, I'm not looking forward to going and seeing Batman versus Superman over this weekend anymore. I wasn't, but now I'm like even less excited after watching Man of Steel.
Great.
So, yeah, and you need to watch it, Sean.
I do, I know.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't watched it. It's funny because like I was in Chicago when they were filming it, and I actually saw I didn't know Michael Shannon was in it until he showed up at an improv because I was in Chicago training in improv, and I went to a show one night, and it was like a tiny little room, and Michael Shannon was in the show. It was amazing. He just showed up, and so I found out that he was in this movie, and I was so excited about it. And I also, I heard there was so much hype about it when it came out. Like there was like really cool fan trailers. And then when it came out, I never heard anything about it. It was silent. And it was like, I heard such mixed reviews. But I just never got around to watching it. It doesn't seem interesting to me anymore.
Well, and you're gonna unfortunately have to watch it if you want to, appease people that will say, well, you didn't watch Man of Steel before Batman vs Superman, so your opinion doesn't count.
Right, exactly.
Which is such a strange that's such a strange way of looking at things.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird way to watch movies. I get what they mean.
But they you can't just read a synopsis.
Right.
Isn't that the same thing?
That's just weird. It's especially when you come in at in the middle of a generation.
It's people that are what it is it's people that get defensive about shit.
Yeah.
When you have an opinion that doesn't.
It's different.
And fanboys and. Fanboys really are so fervent with their beliefs on stuff that even when something is bad, they refuse to acknowledge it. Batman vs Superman right now is sitting at a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whew.
32%.
Damn.
That's lower rated than The Room.
Yeah.
And people that I know keep telling me, "Oh, it's gonna be good.
On what basis?
50-50 with the critics, okay. 30%?
Yeah.
There must be something there that a majority of the people who are watching the movie see.
Right.
And that goes for any movie. I like movies that have terrible Rotten Tomatoes scores. But, I'm in a small minority of people who like it, and I understand that.
Exactly. That's true. It's
I'm not trying to tell everyone that this movie is the best thing ever, even though I know it's really not, but I like it anyways. Just because I like it doesn't mean it's good. That's the real issue. You don't have to like something for it to be good. Frankly, you can like bad stuff, but don't try to tell me that it's good.
Right, exactly.
That's the problem.
Just know the difference, that's all.
It doesn't have to be good for you to like it. And if you like it, that doesn't mean that it's good. You can like it for any number of reasons. So
that's true. I believe that.
Yeah.
I know I like some trash, man.
Yeah, so do I. I know movies that I like will not appeal to most people.
Yeah, exactly.
But so what?
I know.
I don't care. I don't say that they're good movies. I just say that I like them.
Exactly. It's just I also like McDonald's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's there are things that I like that most people would think are bad. I'm not trying to tell you it's good. I'm just saying I enjoy it. So what?
Exactly.
But don't try to tell me it's good. Come on. You know what I mean?
There's things just logically you can't convince me.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about I'm Still Here?
Let's do it.
So I'm Still Here came out in 2010. Like I said, it was directed by Casey Affleck and written by Casey Affleck and Joaquin Phoenix. The IMDb synopsis for the film is documenting Joaquin Phoenix's transition from the acting world to a career as an aspiring rapper.
Drops of water, and you're on top of the mountain, a success. But one day you start sliding down the mountain and you think, wait a minute, I'm a mountaintop water drop. I don't belong in this valley, this river, this low dark ocean with all these drops of water. Then one day it gets hot, and you slowly evaporate into air, way up, higher than any mountaintop, all the way to the heavens. Then you understand that it was at your lowest that you were closest to God. Life's a journey that goes round and round, and the end is closest to the beginning. So if it's change you need, relish the journey.
Sean, you had seen this film before.
Yes.
What did you think of it rewatching it for a second time?
I felt a little more depressed watching it the second time. I don't know. It's weird. My friend, I just watched it for the first time in January. When I came back from Florida, my friend watched it with me because, this really appeals to actors. I mean, this is a very personal movie that any actor trying to make it, and any, musician has a specific perspective in this too. But we'll understand and relate to this. And it's depressing. It's sad. It's just watching all of the things that you've heard about about Hollywood, and and I remember this particular movie when I was in college. My music teacher thought it was real, and the thing about this movie that's so crazy is the scandal that he created. So I mean, that alone has its own personal, very deep-seated reaction emotionally. So I don't know, it's weird. I feel weird about this movie.
It's an interesting movie. I mean, I remember back in 2010 when all the Joaquin Phoenix's retiring stuff was going on. And people back then were saying it was a hoax. And it is obviously a hoax. I mean, this is a mockumentary that's supposed to, show how celebrity affects someone and, I think this movie kind of peters out halfway through and becomes a little indulgent.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's almost Andy Kaufman-esque in its presentation of what the facts are and where the facts, where the facts end and the fiction begins, or vice versa. And obviously with a good mockumentary, that's something that you want.
Right.
But I feel like this movie is way too long for what it is.
I agree with you there. I still agree.
It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes too long. And it just kind of drags on. And, the joke is funny at the beginning, and then they kind of keep it alive for a while. And then towards the end of the film, it's just kind of like it's just a little grating. Yeah. And that's kind of my real problem with this movie, is that it does some really interesting stuff at the beginning, but towards the middle half, last 2/3 of the film, it really doesn't do much interesting. It just kind of sits there and says, hey, being a celebrity affects you, and isn't that a terrible thing?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think it's just that I heard, because I didn't hear about the scandal like that he was retiring. I didn't hear about that stuff as much because I wasn't paying attention to that stuff. But when my teacher told me about it, and then hearing about the way it affected, because I will say that the difference between watching it the first time and the second time is that the second time, I could definitely tell where this was contrived and where this felt like a mockumentary. And the first time I was so, I guess, overwhelmed by the emotional impact it had on me personally. So I guess that's I agree with you. It totally, when you see through that, it totally gets, I mean, it is a dragged out movie in a lot of ways, but it's just like particularly those cringeworthy moments that are just dragged out, which I think are effective, but then they do it in other scenes that it just makes it excessive.
Right. And I think some of the more interesting parts of this movie are his, real interactions with actors. Obviously they're all scripted.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's such an interesting, it's an interesting movie in that it really is kind of a joke that goes on for way too long.
Yeah.
And it stops being funny after a while.
Yeah.
But you do have to give Joaquin Phoenix credit, because he essentially put on this public facade of this character of Joaquin Phoenix, JP the rapper.
Yeah.
He did it for like 2 years.
I mean, that's the thing that gets
So you have to give him credit, right?
Absolutely, because this is like what we've been talking about before, and when these types of movies kind of extend beyond the silver screen, beyond the movie itself, and they kind of continue that narrative. In this case, those scenes at the end where, he had those interviews, and we've seen them before, on TV, and when his reaction is like physical illness, that to me was so, I don't know, it felt so authentic. Even if it was faked, it felt so like some of that has to be real for him. You know what I mean? And that to me was interesting. This movie is interesting because he plays with his career. He uses his career to sort of tell the story, kind of the way Werner Herzog did in Incident at Loch Ness, which was effective in a really great way. But this, it's just they kind of do the same thing where their career sort of tells the story or helps tell the story.
Yeah, I think that the blurring of the lines in this movie is really effective.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, whether or not it's scripted, some of those reactions do seem genuine. And some of those reactions from Joaquin Phoenix after the David Letterman interview, those seem genuine.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's just Joaquin Phoenix being a really talented actor.
Oh no, I agree. And that's what I think. This time I could see that for sure. Like with the Letterman, that one was. This time I could see I saw it differently. But even, I think it's just walking through. Imagine he walked through crowds of people booing and literally, that's a personal thing to me. And I think going through that, and even though it's an act, knowing that it's an act, the backlash that he got publicly, which I think this movie is kind of about too. It's about the way his fame affects him. And I think that was disturbing to me. And it was because it was so that's the truth. That happened, People were making fun of him, and that's something that's real that he definitely had to go through in some way or another. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know. I just think about that as an actor, like, who wants to do what he's doing, Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It just hit me personally.
Well, and I have never dealt with this kind of the cult of personality fame thing that obviously a lot of actors have to deal with. And it is an interesting kind of study in that, because that's what this entire movie is about, is studying, how does fame affect a person?
Absolutely.
And how does, being a child actor affect a person?
Absolutely.
Because that's the other thing, right? Because
definitely.
They make a big point about that throughout the film, making sure you realize that he was a child actor and everything.
Yeah.
I think that this is an interesting character study in that. The only problem is they play it too much for comedy.
Yeah,
and in playing it for comedy, they expect more laughs than they get. And if this film weren't primarily trying to be a comedy, I think it would be more effective as a film.
See, that's interesting because I didn't feel it to be funny at all. Like
there were parts that were funny they were funny in like a cringe humor way.
Yeah, I guess so. To me, it just was so devastating that I saw it as so depressed. That's why it's really interesting because I in a big way, this is different for me. It's a different experience watching this. But like it felt so scary to me, and so because the whole thing, like you said.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind the scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Spurs from his warped reality his warped view on reality from just growing up in fame, and I think that's one of the things that I love about the scenes with Sean Combs, and he's talking about you can't just he's clearly upset about how artists do this or try to do this. They grow up thinking that, in this fame as an actor or as a musician or whatever, and they think it's easy to just change your image and change your brand to a different, aspect. It's not easy. It's like you have to really start from scratch. And I think that they kind of definitely parody that in this movie.
And that's the thing is I just wish that the film wasn't played for laughs so much.
Yeah, I agree.
In my mind, it was played for laughs. And obviously that's my approach to it.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know, it's a hard film to digest because it really is reliant on who's watching.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very specific, and it's like a movie about movies. You know what I mean? Almost,
Right. I really like Joaquin Phoenix in this movie, but I think it really would have benefited from, I don't know. I keep thinking it's a comedy, but you're right. It's not very funny.
And it's even listed as a comedy.
It's really a depressing movie.
Yeah, I never found it. It's funny because, when my friend told me to watch it, he told me to watch it with a very concerned look. And, but we're both actors. So, like, when we watched it with that sort of lens. We didn't see this as funny. We saw this as what we're afraid of for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to spiral out of control and yet this is what we came here to do. We came here because we crave, that success, that we want that, and we all want that fame. But I'm like, that's also what scares the hell out of me,
Is letting it go to your head like that?
Or just not even maybe, but just also the way that it sort of manipulates you just because everyone's looking and everyone, that's to me what scares me is just that the eye is on you,
Right. Yeah. Again, I think that if this film hadn't done the whole comedy thing, I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more. But because I had heard that it was a comedy, I was expecting more of a wry sense of humor. And at the end of the day, I ended up just feeling bad for the Joaquin Phoenix character.
Yeah, me too.
Because the character that he is, the character that he is portraying is like mentally troubled.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like a troubled
He's
person.
like adult, like just drug, you know what I mean? Like addicted, and like there's clearly there's problems, you know, that are underlying, you know?
Yeah. I think that the tone of the movie is kind of all over the place, and that doesn't help the film.
Yeah. It almost feels like, I mean, to me, it would make sense that they would try to go for a comedy turn because of the scandal that they created. They kind of have to make it light. But I don't know. To me, I think looking back on it now, is that watching this movie now for me is a little easier or more fulfilling, I guess, than it would be to watch it when this came out. Because, you know, I didn't at the time. His specific type of celebrity is interesting too, you know?
Right. Well, yeah. And, you know, the whole going and doing something, you know, 180 degrees different than what you're doing and retiring to go do that as opposed to acting.
Right.
I think it's an interesting idea, but I just don't think it's executed very well.
I agree. I mean, like I'm never convinced that he actually wants to be a rapper because of his music is actually that bad. It's so bad, you know, like you hear it. And there's nothing there. It's almost,
and maybe that's the joke.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the joke. It's definitely the joke. But it's like you said, it's lost in this weird, complex, mixed emotions. You know what I mean? It doesn't really know where it lives sometimes.
And I like Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I really do. And I think that he's a really one of the more underrated actors of his generation. And he's obviously a very talented actor.
Yeah.
And he's the only reason that this film is kind of close to being worth checking out.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, you know, Casey Affleck, this is his first directorial debut. And, I mean, it's okay. Like, for your directorial debut, it's not, you know, I wouldn't say it's anything like, you know, astounding or standout.
It made a big sound. It made a lot of noise, I'd say.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But, I wasn't sitting here like, man, I'm going to go out and watch another, you know, Casey Affleck directed film.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Because I don't know, maybe I would have bought the comedy a lot more if it wasn't a real scandal. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't tell us that the movie was happening, or, you know, like, but you kind of, that's so a part of the story that it had to happen. You know what I mean?
Well, and obviously, you know, a lot of the stuff that happened because of this movie, the whole scandal of it existed because of, you know, the way the media drives everything, right? I mean, the media drives the Hollywood system, and, you know, Joaquin Phoenix is retiring, and then it goes ape shit all over the news.
Absolutely. Well, it's also got to be great for their marketing. I mean, they've built it in. They're already talking about him, and when this movie comes out, they're going to want to see it. I was interested to see the gross, and it's actually not as much as I thought it would be. But
no, it's not.
You know, but it definitely. I mean, everyone knows that he made this movie. You know what I mean? Like, if you know anything about Joaquin Phoenix, you know he made this documentary or this documentary. You know.
My favorite part of the movie, though, is definitely, and you know, we've touched on this a little bit already, are his interactions with other actors.
Yeah.
And like when he has that really terribly uncomfortable scene with Ben Stiller.
Oh man, yeah, that was painful.
It's like so uncomfortable.
It totally is.
Because like Ben Stiller, I mean, obviously they're all in on it.
Yeah.
So Ben Stiller is just sitting there kind of like what seems to me like trying to like not strangle Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just like walk away completely while he's trying to offer him a role in his film.
Oh man. And then he thought like he thought he was playing Ben Stiller's part, and like that was just so awkward, that conversation. Like, oh man.
Oh, you're green.
Oh yeah, okay.
Got it.
I had already made such a connection with that role, and I was like, oh my God. So painful.
It's such a weird movie.
Yeah.
Because there are some really great scenes that punctuate the film, but most of it is just Joaquin Phoenix doing shit that's just like weird.
Yeah.
Like telling people to go fuck themselves, or like saying like I'm gonna shit on your face, and like.
And it's difficult because he's, you know, his type, and like he talks about this in his movie, you know, but up until this point in his career, he played so many lovable characters, and like he was just reaching to a point where people really liked him and really wanted to see him in more. And he just played Johnny Cash and Walk the Line, and to see him in these situations, and also to see other actors and to not be in on the joke. I think that's the thing. Because, like, my teacher, when she watched this, she believed it. You know what I mean? and to see people that you aren't used to seeing in this light, that's like, totally ruined childhood sort of thing, like it totally breaks that illusion. And I'm sure people react to that if they believe it in a very negative way,
Right. Well, and the thing that cracks me up is I honestly don't understand how anyone could believe that this was real.
I bet there's a lot. I bet there's a scary amount.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that wasn't what made this film somewhat successful for me. Wasn't that it was, this is really happening.
Yeah.
It was just his performance.
Well, I agree. I think so too. And then looking at that from an inside sort of perspective, that is definitely what makes this movie, But I think that what it does for like a lot of people who don't pay attention, who just go to the movies and see stuff, they believe this. You know what I mean? They totally would believe this. And I know a lot of people who would. And I think that it totally changes the way you see the movie. I mean, you can watch this movie. So I don't know if that makes it. It's a difficult movie.
No, I mean, it makes sense. This is just, the movie itself is such kind of a strange thing to approach.
Yeah, it is. It's very unique.
Yeah, it's a strange movie to approach conventionally. So what it ends up boiling down to is you kind of have to have an unconventional approach to talking about this movie.
Right, exactly.
And, I don't dislike this movie. I actually enjoyed large parts of it, but I think at the end of the day, it's the kind of movie you watch once.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, as a movie, yeah, itself, and if I totally take myself and my own like ego out of it, the movie itself, I wouldn't want to watch it more than once either.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the kind of movie you watch one time and now you're good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly, like, I've seen it and there you go.
Yeah, it's full of uncomfortableness and it's not fun to sit through that sometimes, like the cringeworthy moments are pretty cringeworthy,
Yeah.
So,
and they're funny like the first time.
Yeah. They're funny for also like the first few seconds and then it's like, it's just dragged out. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy that stuff, but like in moderation. So
yeah, I wish that this movie wasn't trying to be funny.
I do too.
And it had just been a character study, because then I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
And again, Joaquin Phoenix and everybody in the film, I think their hearts were in the right place, but I think that using the comedy angle maybe allowed them to think that this film would have more of a mainstream appeal than it did.
Yeah.
But this film doesn't have mainstream appeal anyways.
No way. Yeah.
So, skip it or watch it in best performance.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I think you should. I think watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. It's interesting, and it's definitely a good look into what it can be like and it can feel like in this industry sometimes. And best performance, I mean, it's kind of difficult to say anyone other than Joaquin Phoenix.
I mean, there's not really anyone other than Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, it's just, everyone else is just kind of reacting to him. So, but he's great. Yeah. He is really great at it. It's impressive.
He's good at playing a version of himself.
Yeah, which, he does some very brave things, is what I'll say.
Yeah. There's a lot of wieners in this movie.
There are. I was impressed by how much.
A lot of full frontal nudity.
It's like gratuitous.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think this is a soft watch it. Very soft. Because it's almost 2 hours.
It is. It is long. It's definitely.
Yeah. So it's a soft watch it. If anything we've said sounds interesting, then check it out. But if you're not 100% sold on the idea, or you don't want to see a bunch of full frontal male nudity, then this film ain't for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a special interest film.
Yeah. And best performance, like you said, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, there's not really anyone else.
Yeah, you can't really. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say that Sean Combs comes in a close second because watching
he has some interesting scenes for sure.
Yeah, I love watching him listen to his music. That was great. That was just amazing.
What do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Can't be wonderful. I'd say like 65.
53%.
Ooh.
As unkempt and inscrutable as Joaquin Phoenix himself, I'm Still Here raises some interesting questions about its subject as well as the nature of celebrity, but it fails to answer many of them convincingly.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And then the audience score is a 38%, so even lower.
Even lower.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Jeez.
That makes sense to me, though. I wouldn't expect, that's interesting.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Well, before I talk about next week's Kulturecast, one of which is the final one for Mockumentary March, and the other one is one of the biggest releases of the year. Sean, is there anything you want to talk about? Are you still horny and alone?
Alone and lonely and horny? I always, story of my life. That comes out next week, I think. Or no, the week after. April 8th. So check that out on Vimeo. And you can follow me, as always, on Twitter. I'm Seanifer. And on Facebook, I'm Sean Liang.
And you can follow me on at Twitter at Kulturestash. And if you like what you're hearing now, go on over to cultureshocked.com/Kulturecast and check out other episodes of the Kulturecast. We are also on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Next week on Monday, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest releases of the year, a film that I'm not particularly looking forward to, but we'll watch for the listeners anyways, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And we're going to be joined for the first time on the Kulturecast by film writer Ash Suri and returning guest of many a Kulturecast, director Matt Campagna. He's going to sit down and talk Batman v Superman with us. And then on Thursday, we're going to round out Mockumentary March with Bruno, the second film by Sacha Baron Cohen. We're going to be joined by a good friend of mine, Quinn, and film writer for the site Oscar, is going to sit down and talk that film with us. So, big thanks to Wavoka, as always, for the intro-outro music for the Kulturecast, and make sure to check out next week's episode.